Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, Marnee Benson, who is Director of Government Affairs for Burning Man, here for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Meantime, here in Nevada, we appear to have one of the highest inflation rates in the country.
Soaring prices for gas, food, housing, and construction supplies continue to hammer Nevadans.
Senator Catherine Cortez Masto was the deciding vote for President Biden's multi-trillion-dollar spending spree, sending inflation through the roof and raising gas and grocery prices over 8% on hardworking Nevadans. Tell Senator Cortez Masto to stop voting for reckless spending and start fighting inflation.
This 4th of July weekend, join the Nevada State Railroad Museum, Carson City, for the Great Western Steam Up, a celebration of the Virginia and Truckee Railroad's 150th birthday. Festivities include a narrated pageant of steam locomotion, train rides, food and libations, live music, and more. For tickets and more information, visit greatwesternsteamup.com.
I'm here at the Carson Valley Inn in Minden with Joey Whitaker. Entertainment here at the Carson Valley Inn is extraordinary.
Yeah, super proud of the TJ's Corral, our outdoor venue, about 1,500 seats. We've had first-class entertainment out there. We've had Merle Haggard, we've had Chris Young, we've had Lee Brice a couple times, we've had Pat Benatar, Joan Jett, who's in the Hall of Fame. We're real proud out there, and it's just a great time. Watch CarsonValleyInn.com and grab those tickets early. It's not a long way to get away to the Carson Valley Inn.
Pro Group Management offers workers' comp services to a growing number of industries. As businesses grow and change with the times, the need for a solid workers' comp program must be flexible and up to date. The evolving nature of regulations can make staying ahead of complex tasks challenging. But Pro Group Management simplifies the work so your industry can move forward and succeed. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're absolutely delighted to welcome to the program Marnee Benson. She's Director of Government Affairs for Burning Man. Pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, so let's start out with, how did you end up being the Government Affairs Director for Burning Man?
Well, that's a great first question. I have a background in environmental policy and environmental science, and I got involved in Burning Man first by attending in 2001, and then being involved in Black Rock Solar, which is a nonprofit organization that started from Burning Man, where I did renewable energy policy and projects. And then about 8 years ago, I was hired to do political affairs and government relations and public affairs.
All right, so let's go back to the beginning. 21 years ago, your first time at Burning Man. What were you expecting and what did you find?
Well, I had been in Reno for quite a while and heard about Burning Man and was very intrigued, and so went out and didn't have a lot of expectations. And thought I would hang out with friends and see cool art, and that is indeed what happened. But it was more than that. It was such a special place with such a broad landscape and interactions with people from across the world, and it was all day and all night and very inclusive and warm and fun.
And with no expectations, was that a better way to go there?
I think so. This was sort of pre-internet in terms of websites that showed what the art's going to look like and fundraising campaigns, and it was fun to go out with written directions on how to get to the event site and not know what to expect in getting through the gate or what I was going to see. So that was really fun.
That's kind of like original MapQuest.
It was.
Where they printed it and you're driving along trying to read something
yes.
and trying to get there.
Yeah.
did you have any idea that you would be eventually involved? I mean, how many people were there that first time?
That first time for me, so 2001, I think the population was about 25,000, so it felt big. We're now at 80,000 people, so we've really scaled over my tenure there. And that first year, I didn't know that I would be involved. I just knew that I loved it and that there was something happening there that was truly special.
And then you kept going back year after year.
Yeah, I didn't miss a year until we canceled our event in 2020 due to COVID.
All right, so in the meantime, you have a real working life. What were you doing in terms of, were you doing government affairs 20 years ago?
I wasn't. 20 years ago, I was in banking, and then I was a journalist and started doing, I worked for local Nevada and Reno newspapers and magazines. And then I started doing event production. I organized the Tour de Nez, if you remember, the bike race. And I did this global sailing expedition that focused on climate change and renewable energy. And then in 2007, the theme for Burning Man was the Green Man. It was an environmental theme. And I met one of the founders and was brought on to write about the event and write about building Black Rock City and showcasing the work that was being done with the theme. And then a short time later, I was hired into Black Rock Solar.
All right, so at what point did you get into government relations? Because, you know, that was the thing that attracted me to want to have you on the program, because we've seen so many different angles of Burning Man, but government affairs obviously is something this program deals in, and I just have to imagine that you had every bureaucracy one could think of to deal with, from the BLM to Pershing County to the state, and probably many more organizations. Share with us how you got into it and what you found when you got there.
Well, through event production, you start getting into permitting and working with government agencies. And then when I was with Black Rock Solar, we were building solar arrays and donating them to organizations and tribes and schools and hospitals in Northern Nevada. And so I worked with a lot of organizations and agencies to build those arrays and develop those projects. And at the same time, Burning Man's complexity grew. From the early years, there was just the permit with BLM and law enforcement agencies. And now we work with 16 or 17 different agencies each year for our permitting. And we now have an airport, so I work with the FAA and NDOT Aviation, and we have a hospital, so we work with state agencies on the hospital. We have law enforcement, the Bureau of Land Management. We work really closely with the Pyramid Lake Paiute tribe because we know that our event has impacts, and so we want to be good partners and ensure that we're supporting our agencies in terms of the higher level of public safety that they provide. So I do work with multiple law enforcement agencies and federal agencies with 2 different counties, commissioners, and other public health and safety entities.
All right, so if we go back in time, at the beginning of Burning Man, when it came to Black Rock Desert, there were certain areas of Nevada that weren't real keen, including Reno, of the idea of having this population coming through the town. That, of course, has changed 1,000%. It's now, you know, every grocery store in Reno sells out a bottled water if they haven't stocked up enough, along with every other item. But law enforcement wasn't particularly excited about having this group of people here. Was there a misunderstanding from the beginning from outsiders of who was actually coming to Burning Man?
I think in the early days that arc is interesting because the first time that Burning Man took place in Nevada was 1990, and it was a small group of people who were, you know, looking to disrupt the system. And when Burning Man first arrived in Washoe County and Pershing County, that was a real collision of values. And so I don't think it was a misconception. I think it was a lack of communication. And what's happened over the years is we've learned a lot. In those early days, I don't think we were the best citizens of Washoe County. We came and, had goals about the type of event and interactions we wanted to have, but did not really know how to navigate through public affairs and government relations. And I think through trial and error and making mistakes and really focusing on our communication and relationship building and being good neighbors, and that has changed over the years, and sometimes out of necessity. And so as our population has grown, we have had to work with different agencies to get different permits. And I think part of our values at Burning Man include communal effort, and that shows up better now. And so we now have 80,000 people coming in from 5,500 different cities around the world. And through years of working together with our agencies and elected officials and rural, more conservative counties to find commonalities, I think we're in a better place, and we've built trust and much better systems, and I think it shows.
So if you look at Electric Daisy Carnival, which has been coming to Nevada now for several years, they're bringing in 150,000 people a night over 3 nights, so 450,000 people. But they have the support of the hotels, the casinos, an airport that's large enough to handle that kind of volume, and Metro is totally comfortable with handling that size of a crowd. You've got 80,000 people in the middle of the Black Rock Desert with no amenities when you build it, but before you start building it each year, there's nothing there. What is the reaction of these agencies? Are the agencies looking to find a problem? Are they looking to work with you? And I realize diplomatically you're going to say everything's hunky-dory, and I don't blame you for saying that, but what are the issues that pop up each year or every other year that are of concern to various other groups?
Well, on the one hand, you're right. We do work really well with many of these different agencies. And as Burning Man has become more culturally ingrained in the area and also a real economic driver, we bring $75 million of direct economic impact just to this area. And so as that has happened and people have understood that we bring positive benefits, entrepreneurs, governments have sort of latched on and really been welcoming. You see Burning Man art all over the place here in Reno. And so we do work collaboratively with many of those agencies who see our work as being important and see our organization as being very competent, and our expertise is really coming into play when we build an ephemeral city out in the middle of nowhere where there are no other resources. And the natural environment is intrinsically dangerous. But that being said,
you said that so nicely. Intrinsically dangerous. It is.
It really is. And so, that takes a lot of planning on our part and the part of our participants. And so we learn about that together. But what you said is really key. We oftentimes don't see eye to eye with government agencies. We think we're overregulated. We think we're charged too much. And we've seen in the past.
Hang on, you're Republicans. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Well, I think people are typically surprised when they learn about Burning Man. It's difficult to pigeonhole us politically because Democrats, Republicans, and Libertarians all come to the event and they interact and they enjoy interacting. And it's the same economically. Tech titans come to Burning Man, but so do circus performers and welders and academics. And so it's not easy to predict who's out there. And that diversity in our culture really, I think, plays out well.
Yeah, and I was truly kidding, but the comments you made sounded like the Republican platform.
Well,
less regulation,
I can tell you
alone.
that there have been, many times in the past where that has come to a head. Years ago, I think in 2015, the federal government was caught trying to require that we build them luxury accommodations.
It was amazing that people can Google that, but I mean the BLM was asking for outrageous things.
They were asking us to provide porcelain toilets and 24-hour access to ice cream, which that was the headlines, not just in Nevada but nationally. I think it was called Choco Taco Gate or something to that effect. And that really exposed a problem in the system where they were using us to provide more than was needed to administer our permit. And things improved after that significantly. And another example is when we were doing our environmental impact statement in 2019, we found once again that we really didn't see eye to eye with the Bureau of Land Management, that they were not taking into consideration our track record, our successful operations, or even the environmental impacts of their own recommendations. And what they were recommending through their study was mitigations that weren't operationally feasible, that were not environmentally safe, that were economically impossible and culturally damaging. And so we galvanized our community across the world, really, and we have subject matter experts in science and technology and infrastructure, and they really came through and submitted comments and statements and documents really showing the federal government where they had gotten it wrong. And so there are certainly examples where we haven't gotten along well, and plenty where we do get along well.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. What a fascinating discussion. Marnee Benson is here. She's Director of Government Affairs for Burning Man, and we'll be right back.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
Like a traditional handmade basket, retail is woven into the fabric of life in Nevada. From big box to mom and pop, retail supports our communities in countless ways. Jobs for the disabled, team uniforms for kids, help for the elderly, and so much more. Retail employs over 1 in 10 workers. Retail supports Nevada, and we support retail.
RANNV.org.
Hi, I'm Renee Summerhour, digital news anchor here at 7 at 7. Watch our streaming nonstop newscast immediately with your mobile phone. 7 at 7 is the new way for you to get every bit of local news you need in just 7 minutes. Breaking news, local neighborhood news, weather, and sports are just a click away. Reporters bring you all of what's happening in the Valley. From Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, YouTube, and more. Get every bit of local news you need from the RJ and LVRJ.com.
Ahern Rentals began as Signal Gas Station on Las Vegas Boulevard. Founder John Ahern grew the business by offering rentals. His son Don built on John's legacy, growing Ahern Rentals into the largest independently owned American rental company with 89 locations in 30 states. Don also brought his experience and vision to equipment manufacturing with Extreme Manufacturing and Snorkel. Today, Ahern Rentals continues to bring its family values to a new generation. Learn more at ahern.com.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Marnee Benson. She is Director of Government Affairs for Burning Man. So there was a lot of talk over the last few years about the high-tech leaders who are coming to Burning Man and had this really high-level camps that were set up. What was the controversy like from your end?
Well, I think it's maybe two distinct items that you're talking about. We really do have a wide audience of people in tech. You know, we were founded in San Francisco, and there's certainly a nexus of tech in the Bay Area, and so we have folks coming every year. And there's a wonderful story about Elon Musk and his cousin going out to Burning Man and conceiving of Solar City. And so, you know, we hear these stories often, but I think what you're getting to is we had years ago, we saw this movement from self-sufficiency to
catering?
Camps, to catering, from self-sufficiency to catering. And we saw, unfortunately, some camps that were developing around this idea of creating and providing an experience to people instead of sort of co-creating that experience. And we saw this movement towards what we call turnkey camps, where someone could come to the event, and instead of bringing what they need and providing their gifts to the community, that they were coming in and having things set up for them ahead of time and having niceties that aren't generally available.
Okay, but isn't that called evolution?
Well, it was part of our evolution, certainly, because you've seen how...
Because I'm waiting for the Sheraton to be built out there.
Is that when you're going to get your ticket?
That's when I'm getting my ticket.
What we did, because we really don't like to impose regulation on ourselves either, is we watched as the community, those kind of camps started to pop up, and what the community did in response was object. And
in what way?
In calling out that isn't quite in line with the shared principles of why going to Burning Man is so special. And part of the experience out there is facing hardships together, having to plan and create your camp together, thinking about what you're going to contribute to the community and how that shows up in different ways that fails. And so this was kind of short-circuiting that. And many in the community were seeing the way that materialized on Playa and not enjoying that. And so through a process that we called cultural direction setting, we brought members of the community together, members of those camps, members of the camps that objected, and really found the path forward, which was to ensure that we were staying true to our values while still evolving, and making sure that the city wasn't taking a turn towards delivering paid services.
Okay, but isn't the cost of a ticket, the highest prices for the tickets, going to change the kind of people that were able to come to Burning Man? Because it's not a free situation at all.
Well, our ticket prices have stayed quite level for the most part over. I probably don't have these stats right, but for the past, I'd say 5 to 8 years, they've been between $375 and $425 for the basic ticket.
Plus parking if you're going to bring a vehicle.
There's a vehicle pass now that we've instituted to encourage carpooling and reduce our emissions that is north of $100. And we also have different levels of tickets that we've added on over the years. So one program that we've had in place, I think, for 20 years is our we called it originally the low-income ticket program, and now it's got a new name to, I think, ticket assistance program. And those are tickets that are $190 or $200 that people send us applications, and we go through thousands of those, and we make available thousands of those tickets so that people who don't have the higher income levels can come and bring their artistic contributions to the event. And then on the other side of that,
you can't have this kind of festival without starving artists.
It's all about the art, and right. Art comes from many different places, and especially when you're talking about large scale interactive art like we have, that's like no other place in the world. And so the higher price tickets that we started instituting years ago are the other side of the coin to those lower price tickets, and that's how we're able to do that.
All right, let's take one more break and
Sure.
We'll be right back.
Meantime, here in Nevada, we appear to have one of the highest inflation rates in the country.
Soaring prices for gas, food, housing, and construction supplies continue to hammer Nevadans.
Senator Catherine Cortez Masto was the deciding vote for President Biden's multi-trillion-dollar spending spree, sending inflation through the roof and raising gas and grocery prices over 8% on hardworking Nevadans. Tell Senator Cortez Masto to stop voting for reckless spending and start fighting inflation.
Each day, the Children's Advocacy Alliance partners with leaders, legislators, and families across Nevada to improve children's health, education, economic well-being, and safety. We recognize Nevada will be no better than the state of its children. Be a part of this change. Be a supporter of the Children's Advocacy Alliance. For more information, go to caanv.org.
Southwest Specialties has been making the homes and businesses of Nevada beautiful for more than 20 years. Their experienced designers and craftsmen create the walkways, backyards, water features, and a variety of outdoor cooking areas that add curb appeal and value to your investment. Call today or visit them at their website and see how they can make your outdoor spaces special. Southwest Specialties, creative, distinctive, beautiful.
Modern boutique Ahern Hotel and Events Center in Las Vegas. Host meetings and events on 2 floors. Stay in luxurious rooms and suites. Unlimited branding opportunities. Regional Italian cuisine by Chef Mark Segrisi. Flexible event spaces. Full buyout options. Visit ahernhotel.com today.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Marnee Benson. She is Director of Government Affairs for Burning Man. You're going to come back after Burning Man this year, right?
Yes.
And tell us exactly what happened.
Yes.
Okay, so you're talking 80,000 for this year. How big could this get?
Well, we studied 100,000 people and realized that that was not a sustainable number for us. So we think we have found our sweet spot at 80,000 people.
Are you going to have to work with the counties to improve roads, because you basically have a 2-lane road going in and out?
We have been working with Washoe and Pershing County for a number of years, finding grant funding and other money for County Road 34 especially. And that is one of the public health and safety projects that is on our radar, as well as the county.
Okay, last quick question. Does Pershing County love you now?
Well, some in Pershing County really do love us. One of the programs that I run is our external relations, and we bring the Pershing County seniors out for a tour of Black Rock City every year. And we love having them out there, and when you are told by a 95-year-old grandmother that she's having the most fun evening of her life, that's really a game changer. So I think that there are plenty of folks in Pershing County who enjoy Burning Man and the creativity that we bring.
Really appreciate you being here, Marnee. What a pleasure. Thank you so much for doing this. And like I say, come back after Burning Man and tell us what the experience was like for 2022.
Thank you, Sam.
And we'll be right back. I'm here at the Carson Valley Inn in Minden with Joey Whitaker. One of the things I love about the Carson Valley Inn here in beautiful downtown Minden is CV steak. I have eaten here so many times. Tell folks what they can expect when they come here to eat.
It's a beautiful room, great service. We have certified Angus beef, seafood, lamb, a great range of appetizers, and wonderful desserts. Jean-Michel's done a great job of selecting some beautiful wines for us. The customers love it, and we've got a great selection of cocktails as well. It's not a long way to get away to the Carson Valley Inn.
A bird's eye captures its surroundings at different heights. At Brian Culpa Photography, we can make your imagination soar over buildings, parks, cityscapes, and beyond. Brian's images tell the story and get the job done. If you need a new perspective to tell your story, contact Brian today. Brian Culpa Photography. Experience the bird's eye view at brianculpaphotography.com.
Safety is the #1 priority for the trucking industry. Over $7 billion a year is spent on technology like this electronic eye that will apply the brakes automatically. But the most important factor for safety is the truck driver. These hardworking men and women who safely move over 70% of our nation's freight and 94% of Nevada's. We thank you because trucks move America forward.
Nevada Newsmakers Studio is located at the headquarters of the Nevada Trucking Association. Motion and purpose are a truck's greatest virtue.
That's it for this edition of Nevada Newsmakers. We'll see you on the next broadcast. Thanks for watching.